play right, cause they can't miss. All about the game, that's a cold switch. Serving up the truth, call it ruthless. Tune in and get your fix from Blake and Vish Sports.
To do it, we got to get to the 49ers. It wouldn't be Mondays with Vish if we weren't talking about the 49ers quarterback situation. That is just a rule at this point. But Vish, you're going to go first on this one because this is your team. This is your guy. Trey Lance had his first start against the Cardinals. It was a close loss. The offense scored, I want to say it was 17-10. Offense moved the ball pretty well, though. Vish, what were your initial thoughts or initial reactions to Trey Lance's first start?
Yeah, so we're going to obviously talk about the first start and the injury. Both are going to be back-to-back. Those are our next two topics. We just wanted to keep it in the middle so that more people had the opportunity because we know a lot of you are coming in just to talk about this. But my initial thoughts, honestly, was that there's a lot of positive that Trey Lance did in his first start. I don't know why, but I felt like a lot of people were ready to write it off. I mean, this is a guy making his first start on the road against a team that's 4-0, and they're just a better football team than the 49ers, top to bottom. I think one of my biggest takeaways from this game before I talk about Lance was the 49ers. I think we overrated them as a football team, honestly. I look at this roster and I compare them, let's say, to their other three teams in their division. They don't win the line of scrimmage the way they did in 2019. This offensive line got beaten up. The Cardinals out physicaled them on, especially the Niners offensive line. They just pushed them around. JJ Watt was everywhere. Chandler Jones had himself a game. This offensive line between Mack, Brunskill, and McGlinchey had his struggles yesterday. They haven't been very strong all year. I mean, Kenny Clark, I thought maybe that was a one-off. Kenny Clark had a great game, but no. Javon Hargrave played a phenomenal game against them. Javon Hargrave's had a great year. Fine. Kenny Clark absolutely whipped their butts. Kenny Clark's an excellent player. Fine. You go to the next game. Seattle doesn't have a good defensive line, but Seattle had success at the line of scrimmage. The Niners didn't blow them off the ball. So that was another game. And then finally you come here and Arizona also whips them up and down. It's just, I don't think, especially in terms of offense, their personnel is as good as we originally thought. Like, I think they have the fourth best group of receivers in the NFC West. I think they have the third best offensive line, especially if Rodney Hudson is healthy. Arizona has a better offensive line. And I think they have the worst running back set in the NFL. So I just wanted to get that out there. I think that's context that's needed in Trey Lance's first start, and frankly in Jimmy Garoppolo's last 4 games, because as we're going into this season, we're finding out it's just obvious to me that the Niners just aren't as talented as I originally thought on the offensive side of the ball. So now getting into how he played, I thought he played pretty well. I thought the first thing that's evident, and we've talked about this, I feel like every time we talk about Trey Lance, is that athleticism and that arm strength is immediately evident. And he came into the game and he seems to have this thing where he always starts up a little overly amped. The interception to Travis Benjamin, he had Benjamin wide open. He did a good job climbing the pocket. When you go back and see the All-22, it's really the throw is there to be made. I tweeted originally I thought he should have run, but it's a throw that's there to be made, and he just airmails it. It's a terrible throw. And Budda Baker, he throws it right to him, and he picks it off. He says, "Thank you very much." But after that, I thought he settled in, and I felt like as the game went on, the better he got, which seems to be a theme with Trey Lance. Originally, he was a little bit frantic in the pocket. He was inconsistent with his accuracy. And then he started settling in. And as the game went on, you saw like the bullet to Ayuk near the sideline. I thought that was a phenomenal throw in tight coverage, low and away. Amazing ball placement. He had a couple balls to Debo where he was able to get out of the pocket. I thought his athleticism and pocket presence, while his presence in the pocket originally, I felt at times started off shaky. I thought his escapability was a big factor in why the 49ers were able to compete in this football game, other than obviously their defense doing an unbelievable job on Kyler Murray. I thought his escapability really gave them opportunities in that game. Now, it is a double-edged sword, because I would say a couple of those holding penalties and a couple of the sacks taken could have been attributed to Trey Lance, just because you don't expect a guy to be 10 yards deep in his drop and just standing there. With times he could step up and the tackles are looking to just push the edge rushers around, and there's Trey Lance. They got a hold. And, at times, McGlinchey has got the guy blocked, and Lance runs into McGlinchey and kind of ran himself into the sack. That did happen a couple of times. So it was a little bit both good and bad, but honestly, overall, I really thought he played well. We talked about it. It might have been the best first start of all the rookie quarterbacks. I'd say probably Mac Jones. I was really impressed. I still think Mac Jones' first game is the best game he played. But when you go back and watch it and you see all the things he did, I think there's just a lot of positive to be taken away, really, because he played better in the pocket from the pocket than what I expected, honestly, especially later in that game. His accuracy got better and better as the game went, and he started hitting the throws that he's been inconsistent with later in the game. Like he threw a couple short passes to Juszczyk. He had one to Sanu on third and fourth down that was against the zero blitz, and he knew he was going to get hit, and he put it on Sanu. So overall, I thought it was a good performance. I did, and as a Niners fan, I am excited for how the outlook is moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I thought it was probably the best rookie performance considering all the factors that just go into it. And I think the main one that we hasn't been brought up yet is just the whole game plan in general. They barely ran the ball with the running backs. Trey Lance had over 10 carries. Now, not all these were designed, but there was a lot designed. But they were dropping back a ton. They didn't do play action very frequently. He was really playing as a pocket passer for the majority of this game, which is kind of the one thing that coming into the season we said he's going to need to improve on. That's not really his game. He's better in the play action and then just kind of running as well. So those two things are um, just kind of surprising that that's how they used him. And then the second observation I had was, yeah, you mentioned his pocket presence. We talked about that in last week or against the Seahawks and how we thought he just kind of tucked it and ran a little too much. I thought he did amazing against this pass rush, which we brought up and saying they have all these really good guys, Chandler Jones, JJ Watt. They all played great and they were getting around there, beating the 49ers O-line consistently. But he only got sacked twice. Now there was some holding calls that, yeah, you could maybe attribute those to him, but that's to be expected. He's so young, doesn't have much experience. You can expect that because you're taking that, you're saying, okay, here's some of the issues with some of the positives. You mentioned the throw to Ayuk. What about the one to Debo on the run when he was draped and he still put it on him where only he could catch it? The pass to Sanu. There's so many just good throws that you say, wow, there's not many guys in the NFL that can do that, and he's barely played quarterback at a high level thus far. So that is just really convincing, I guess, for all 49ers fans, and probably just divides the whole Jimmy and Trey stands up even more. But that's fine, right? But yeah, that's pretty much all I had in general. I thought Kyle did not call the best of games for him, considering all the factors you mentioned and the fact that it is against a team like the Cardinals.
So in regards to that, because I did want to actually touch on that, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it for sure, because I actually didn't have a problem with the play calling specifically. I just thought the plan was a little bit odd. I thought one of the reasons I thought they drafted Trey Lance was because he was comfortable in an under center play action offense. You know, we saw him do that at NDSU. He had the advantage of being able to do that while, Justin Fields played in a pure, like, very college offense. And for whatever reason, they did not show off any aspect of their under center run game or their under center play action game, which I thought really could have helped him. I thought, moving him outside of the pocket, especially against a very aggressive defense, and Arizona's a very aggressive defense, could have allowed him to, get him outside of the pocket, created more easy completions. We've seen it for Jimmy Garoppolo, play action, Kittle slips, you run outside zone twice, then the third time Kittle slips out the backside, boot, and you just dump it off to Kittle. And not that Kittle played yesterday, but we've seen play calls like that where Shanahan gets in a rhythm and a flow with the under center play action game. For whatever reason, like you mentioned, they had him in kind of the gun and the pistol, and they were running a lot of quarterback design. They were playing this game off the quarterback design, which to me was interesting because I did not expect that, because I thought Trey Lance was capable of doing the under center stuff. So I don't know why they didn't do that. To me, that was a little bit of a bizarre decision. And then the other thing that kind of rubbed me a little bit, that made me a little bit upset, I wouldn't say about the play calling because I actually really liked them going forward on fourth down. I thought all of those were the right decisions. They didn't get it. It was whatever. But I felt like Arizona started to key in on what the Niners were doing offensively at some point. I mean, the fourth down that Kyle Juszczyk, the quarterback sneak, you can see Kyle Juszczyk motions under center. They ran this play. I think they ran this
Against
play.
the Packers.
Yeah, they ran it against the
Packers.
Packers, exactly. And Jordan Hicks immediately triggers into the A gap and takes Alex Mack out. Well, you're running a quarterback sneak and your center's off the ground as soon as he snaps the ball. You're not going to get the 1.5 yards that they need. And that's what happened. And then the other thing with the fourth downs that I didn't particularly prefer and is that when they were running their zone read kind of stuff with the quarterback, you can see that these safeties were triggering and coming downhill and fitting the run fast, and they were getting licks on Trey Lance. And now part of it is Trey Lance has to protect himself, but I felt like there became a little bit of an over reliance on that aspect of the run game because I mean, Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson were flying downhill, and they were meeting Trey Lance at about 4 or 5 yards and just sticking him every single time. The Cardinals' defense is fast; they fly around. I thought maybe the under center pass game there could have been under center off play action offense. There could have been a little more of that. The under center more conventional run game with Shanahan, but I don't know what the plan was. I don't know what the reason why they didn't do it. Maybe they didn't get the looks they want. Maybe they didn't feel Trey Lance was comfortable there. But that would be maybe my one thing that I was actually really shocked by because I thought they drafted him because he's comfortable there and they could run that aspect of their offense no matter what.
Yeah, and maybe he just doesn't know the playbook as well as Jimmy, which is understandable. Jimmy's
Plausible.
been there for years, and Trey Lance been there for an offseason, so that could be it. But yeah, I'm with you. And then I think it's just interesting the contrasting Kyle's fourth down sort of methodology. Earlier in the year, it was uber conservative. He kind of got, some hate for that. And then it's go for it 5 times on fourth down. There's some medium there that's probably the right amount to go for it. And we've seen the Chargers do this with Herbert a lot this year, and it's becoming more of a trend. Saw Andy redo it with Chad Henne at quarterback in the divisional game against the Browns, and it is becoming more popular. It definitely is, and I think analytics point towards that as well. But 5 times with your rookie quarterback in a debut, interesting. He must have a lot of faith in him, but yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of it overall. I thought thought the running back should have touched the ball more, but the offense did move the ball, so you can't really complain about the offensive yardage in general because they didn't really punt very much. So that was a good part of their whole game plan. But yeah, that was our instant reactions to their first start.